Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Gary, for putting this all together. This is great for a lot of different reasons, and I think the folks that are in life science are here will probably identify with this segment closely because it's been a challenge for many years now, and I think we've kind of finally gotten to a spot where there's a robust solution. We called out on the left here, kind of your on-prem. So this is where your scientists are just generating data. It could be any types of data, but we just put some representative ones up here for demonstration purposes. So instead, what you'd like to do is get that file or data off the instrument. Many of the instruments represent a single point of failure that usually the scientist would like to produce their data, store it onto a centralized location that maps to something, like biology / sequence, and then all the Illumina data would then go in there underneath their project. They'd go back to their desk, and then they would, as you can see on the bottom, the users would probably be on their laptops or some remote terminal service inside, and they would then be doing their analytics against the data that was produced, and that would essentially, go from there forward into the discovery stream. Usually the question you're asking is, well, how much data does that Leica produce? That's where the Storage Gateway comes in, and it offers more than just a solution to that problem, but that is one of the solutions that it does provide. So the thing that's great about the Storage Gateway is that it offers an on-prem storage, vault for you. So you can get that traditional mapping. So when a scientist walks up to that QIAGEN or their HPLC, they'll see, their NTFS mount, which is essentially just, a net use command that the IT people will roll out through like group policy or manually map, and they can save it to their favorite letter drive. Pick your favorite drive, M:\data. So the instruments will be just streaming to that and not really caring too much what's on the other end. They just know where to get their data. But in this case, it's the Storage Gateway, which then offers them the ability to have high performance cache locally. So if they're doing, say, like, image processing, image analysis, morphology analysis for, say, like, Image Express, cell feature analysis, this can be done at like really high speeds.
When I think of Storage Gateway, you can't really think Storage Gateway and not think hybrid. That's really what we're trying to do with this is create a hybrid solution between your existing infrastructure and trying to take advantage of some of the benefits in the cloud. Basically, 4 needs that I feel like Storage Gateway covers is 1, I want to run existing applications without change. So I'm not looking to change up my process, but I want to leverage the near infinite scale of cloud. So that's use case number 1. The next one is I need local access to data in the cloud. And I also want to access the power of the cloud with compute and analytics type services. Another common one, especially in the life sciences space, is healthcare specifically, is compliance requires that I integrate with certain enterprise security and management tools, but I want to manage and monitor from a single pane of glass. That could be another use case for hybrid. And then the last one is if you want reliable, easy connectivity to the cloud, even though your data may be in separate physical locations, Storage Gateway could be a good option for you. You basically have 2 options on how you want to do this. The first is a virtual software appliance, and the second option is a hardware appliance. Let's alleviate some of the storage costs, and instead of having to, as your data footprint grows, instead of scaling out your own infrastructure, pass some of that to the cloud and then tier it down into something like a Glacier storage.
What does a deployment look like, and what are some of the considerations that we and end user organizations should have as they're working through that?
The one thing we have to figure out for the customer is how do you want to actually go about getting that data presented to your endpoints. Once we get that figured out, we have to now figure out how do we want to lock this thing down. So now that you've got the files there, and you've got your storage figured how you want the storage to be presented, you've got it secured. Now, how do I protect it? So, whenever you're thinking about protecting your data, you've got your operational effectiveness, and then you've got your disaster recovery side of things.
Everything that we do in IT, not just as PTP, but in IT, everything that we do is for the end users and their experience, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they are our customers. The end users are our customers, and they're the ones that are generating this data for the life sciences organization that they're working for in order to create a new therapy that's going to save lives, right? So, we've had several organizations, some are on the call today, and where that data was not expected, right? And either they're adding more lab instruments, or they're adding more labs, or they're adding, increasing the volume coming from those instruments. So how do we help manage that data? And then how do we control the costs associated with that data? Well, but in terms of optimizing that experience, you have the ability, as Taz was saying, to tier that data and really get the most out of it for your organization, so that as the data is most relevant, it's closest to the user with the best response times and the best latencies. And then as it becomes a little bit less necessary on a day-to-day basis, that tiering, and AWS and the Storage Gateway allows us to control that cost for organizations based upon their requirements for the data. So we had a customer, we were just on a call earlier today, where we're spending literally hours every week managing the data flow from the lab instrument to the local workstation, to a network drive, up to AWS, and they kept hitting problems and data size limitations and running out of space on-prem. The scientist was literally spending 4, 5, 6 hours every week just trying to manage the data to get it to where they needed it to be in order to do the analysis on it. And when you can produce that kind of savings from a time perspective for them, that has a huge business impact. Now you're paying the scientists that you're paying good money for their expertise around the information that you need to gather out of that data, not managing the data. We're really trying to drive efficiencies into the organization, save time, save money, and right-size the expense of it. And if you're trying to drive efficiency into this, which is what every organization in life sciences is trying to do, you have that capability to on demand to do that when you need to do it, right? And the traditional methods where you had to do all this on-prem and because that's where your data was and you had to manipulate it there, you had to have all of this built out on-prem and then sitting there a lot of the times doing nothing, waiting for it. So the fact that you have the ability to expand out into that, which is why we're trying to get that data out there, which is why this is a hybrid solution to say, get the data from those instruments as quickly and efficiently and automated as possible to give that end user experience to them to say, hey, it's out there and ready for you to analyze almost as soon as it's created.
Making sure that you are not binding yourself into one proprietary set way of using your data. And I think, that's why tools like Storage Gateway become so popular, is that you are unlocking your data and giving yourself all these varying endpoints to get into. How do you avoid making your data proprietary to a specific organization that isn't your own?
So the best place you can be is in a position where your data can flow to the place where it can create the most value and the lowest cost, to really drive those science projects forward or just be aligned with the visions of the business.